Hello and welcome back to the Shed Geek Podcast. Here's a message from our studio sponsor. Let's be real. Running a shed business today isn't just about building great sheds. The industry is changing fast. We're all feeling the squeeze, competing for fewer buyers while expectations keep climbing. And yet, I hear from many of you that you are still juggling spreadsheets, clunky software, or disconnected systems. You're spending more time managing chaos than actually growing your business. That's why I want to talk to you about our studio sponsor, ShedPro. If you're not already using them, I really think you should check them out. ShedPro combines your 3D configurator, point of sale, RTO contracts, inventory, deliveries, and dealer tools all in one platform. They even integrate cleanly into our Shed Geek marketing solutions. From website lead to final delivery, you can quote, contract, collect payment, and schedule delivery in one clean workflow. No more double entries, no more back and forth chaos. Quoting is faster, orders are cleaner. And instead of chasing down paperwork, you're actually running your business. And if you mention Shed Geek, you'll get 25% off all setup fees. Check it out at shedpro.co/ShedGeek. Thank you, ShedPro, for being our studio sponsor, and honestly, for building something that helps the industry. Okay, welcome back to another episode of the Shed Geek Podcast. Thank you guys for joining us today. We always appreciate your willingness to listen to what we have to say. We're here, home base, Shed Quarters today in Metropolis, Illinois, and I'm very excited about having on today's guest. We've obviously got Cord Cook here co-hosting with us, Growth Ops Ally, and we've got Stephen Choi with us from ShedPro, and many of you guys know ShedPro, and Stephen, you've probably talked to him several times, seen him at the different trade shows, we were just lamenting about how it's so nice to have a couple of smooth talking, good looking guys on here with nice hair, where I don't have. So before we get started here, just a couple of little things to let you guys know how to stay plugged in with us over at Shed Geek as we continue to move into 2026. If you need to reach us, just call me directly at 618-309-3648. Email us at info at shedgeek.com. We'll be sure to get back to you, and go check out our website at www.shedgeek.com. I don't know why I said www. That sounds like I'm in the year 2004, but we're still going to go ahead and run with it. Also, give our Facebook page a follow. Give us a like, share, comment, something. And be sure to check out the Shed Sales Professionals group. Say that 5 times fast. Shed Sales Professionals group. There's always a lot of good content over there where folks like Steve and Choi are able to jump in and help add value to the conversation. For those of you using our call-in landline or wanting to get that number to someone in the Plain community who would like to listen in, but doesn't listen through all of the different outlets that we use, that phone number for the Plain community is 330-997-3055. And just a shout out for the hot item of today. As you can see, I'm wearing my Heartland Capital Investments hat today. We appreciate them for being a sponsor over at the Shed Geek Podcast. Please give Heartland Capital Investments a call. Phenomenal RTO provider and leader in the industry, and we thank them for being a friend of the show. So welcome, Stephen, to the Shed Geek Podcast from what I would normally say from Canada, but you're actually a world traveler at the moment. What are you up to right now, my friend?
Yeah, that's right. I'm in Vietnam. So as many of the listeners know, ShedPro, we have operations in Vietnam, as well as in the US and in Canada. A big part of why we do business is to try to make a kingdom impact in places around the world that are hard to reach. And so we just wrapped up our annual planning here in Vietnam with our leadership team. Yeah, I'm staying up nights to meet with clients and talk to Shed Geek. But that's all part of the fun here.
Burning the
Very
candle.
good.
That's awesome, Stephen. I know we were talking offline, but the listeners would probably be interested. So you're keeping overnight hours so that you can still be on the sort of U.S. Canada time, but then you're actually going to preach some during the day. So not only devoted to work, but then also, like you say, doing that kingdom work during the daytime. Tell us about it.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll actually be going after Vietnam. I'll be going to Taiwan, where we have some church connections. And so I've been invited to preach this weekend in Taiwan to talk a little bit about more about how business can make a kingdom impact around the world. And so that's a big part of my story, actually, and why I started up with Shed Pro in the first place is, kind of the why behind the business. All right, it's not just about the economic bottom line, but there's a spiritual bottom line to what we do as well. And so that's a big part of my journey and a big part of, why I love working at Shed Pro.
So you are going on, how many years have you been with Shed Pro now, Stephen?
I'm just celebrated my 8th anniversary at Shed Pro.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Very, very excited for you and very excited to see where the future continues to take you outside. And this is completely off topic, and this is not, I guess you want to say, faith-based, or it may even be a little anti what we would normally think of. But I was telling with James, I shared something with him recently that is the most obscure thing in the world. This is really just like, I don't know. I feel like it's so unusual. The fact that like James might be the only person that I actually know in Vietnam that's working in Vietnam. I mean, obviously met some of his team. We have a local girl here in the community of Metropolis, our little bitty town, home of Superman, right? Who's actually in Vietnam. And Cord may know more about this, but it's kind of
Key to,
fun. What's that?
we gave her a key to the city.
Give her a key to
She
the city. That's right. You're on the city board. I gave her a key to the city, but congratulations to her. Her mom is actually my chiropractor, which is kind of funny. And like my daughter went to school with her, and she said she's just the nicest, sweetest girl. But she attended it was a beauty pageant, and it was I guess it's a Miss Cosmopolitan because Miss
yeah,
Cosmo, yeah,
and she won. So she's like Miss Cosmo World, and it was there in let's see, I guess Hanoi, I think is where the actual competition was, but she was there for like a month and won the competition. We actually the whole town, of Metropolis was live streaming the finals at 6 a.m. our time, watching Yolena Lindquist win a beauty pageant in Vietnam. And so anyway, it was just beautiful. I mean, the culture over there and the way that they put on that sort of pageantry, honestly, I think we've lost some of that in the US. Just the show is actually part of it, right? So anyway,
so
it
we'll
was, yeah,
we'll
we're very
move on
proud.
from that. It's just kind of funny, Stephen, that like, we have this connection in Vietnam, and like our whole little town is learning everything about Vietnam culture right now through these videos and through like her experience because she'll be there for like a year doing this. And yeah, I know as a beauty pageant or whatever, but you know what? She's a beautiful young lady, and she did a great job. And you know what? I think Cord, you said her biggest thing was what gets overlooked is their talents and their intellect. And what was her mission was to drive finance education.
Yeah, personal financial literacy, which my goodness, I mean, honestly, that's probably going to touch on some of even the value propositions that Shed Pro has, and those sort of micro economies and sort of how you run a business. But yeah, I mean, such a worthy thing, right? Like teaching kids and that sort of secondary high school age kids, especially, just how to save and manage money and how to make a real impact in poverty levels, around the world, and even more than that, right? Even from middle class, and then continue to achieve. So, yeah, she's just a wonderful person, very smart. So we're happy for her, and yeah, so Metropolis is now, as Shannon said, where everyone in town is kind of learning about Vietnam and really embracing all of that at the moment. So we love it.
Chris, I'm like, I've got a friend in Vietnam. People are like, shut up. We don't care. But no, I think it's great. Me and Cord kind of feel like we have our own, at home, mission and journey and things that we're doing. So we're thankful for what you guys do. Let's talk about the industry. Let's talk about sheds. Let's talk about Shed Pro. Let's talk about what you guys are doing, what's moving, what's shaking. I see you out there. Looks like you're going to the event down in Knoxville soon that Joe Ignis is having. Our good friends over at Velocity 360, exclusive partners of us, exclusive CRM providers, in the space. We highly encourage you to go and chat with them. They do a phenomenal job over there, him and Brandon. But he's having an event down in Knoxville,
January 23rd.
January. Okay, January 23rd. And Steven, you're going to be there along with some other guys. Jared, our buddy over at Steel Kings, is going to be there. Shed Pro is sponsoring the event. James Arthur, so some shed guys are getting in there. Tell us about that. What are you hoping to speak on?
Yeah, well, I mean, so the conference each speaker is gonna be kind of bringing in a different angle, and they've invited me to actually come speak about faith, actually, faith in business. Um, I mean, obviously, we could touch on a number of different things in terms of, where we add value, but I'm excited to be able to speak on that perspective. Speaking of beauty pageants and using your talent and whatnot, when I was growing up, I was kind of taught, whether it was implicitly or explicitly, that if you really want to live out your faith, then well, you ought to just quit your job and become a pastor, right? Which I actually did, right? So I started after college. I was working, in the corporate world. Was first doing consulting and then worked in an electric utility, and quit my job to go to seminary. I got an MDiv. I started pastoring at my home church, and to my surprise, during my seminary education, God actually called me back into business, but this time with kind of a different purpose behind it. And that's when I learned about how business can be used to actually be an expression of your faith. And if you think about it, my friends from seminary, a lot of them, took their education and they became pastors. Some of them went into nonprofits, some of them went into education. And you know what? I just wanted to go into business and, use everything that I'd learned about Jesus and apply it in the business world. And so when I found out about Shed Pro, I met James, and it was like the perfect intersection of my skill sets in business, my sense of call to make a kingdom impact throughout the world, and my pastoral training. So I'll share a little bit more about that and unpack that, and maybe share with some business leaders down at the conference about how you can also integrate your faith in your business, and why and how that actually is part of God's design for each of us. But that's a little bit of the perspective that I'll be bringing.
That's awesome, Stephen. I think that's awesome. So yeah, we want to make sure we say all that right. It is January the 23rd in Knoxville. Looks like it's a all day event there, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. I'm sure that Joe's going to put on a great show. Love those guys down at Velocity 360. And it sounds like very eclectic. I mean, that's awesome. That's awesome to have a sales conference, and then to bring in look, we think you're one of the best. Obviously Shannon and I have been on calls with you with prospects, for Shed Pro and clients of Shed Geek that we're kind of introducing to the 3D builder. And you're an all-out pro when it comes to sales. But I think it's awesome that's really going to be a focus down there in Knoxville. So I encourage anyone. I'm not sure. I'm not up to date on what the ticket situation is, but I know Joe, and I bet he will let you in. So if you still want to go, so look that up and go find a way to get into that conference. It sounds great.
Unlock the power of productivity with Cardinal Leasing. Are you looking to elevate your business operations with top-tier equipment? Look no further than Cardinal Leasing. We offer a wide range of reliable and high-quality equipment tailored to meet your unique needs. flexible leasing options. Whether you need short-term rentals or long-term solutions, our customizable leasing plans are designed to provide maximum flexibility and affordability. Conventional financing available. Cardinal Leasing also offers great conventional finance options for those of you that prefer that overlease purchase options. Expert support. Our team of experienced professionals is here to guide you every step of the way, ensuring a seamless leasing experience. Boost efficiency. With our top-of-the-line equipment, you can enhance productivity, reduce downtime, and achieve your business goals faster. Why choose Cardinal Leasing? Competitive rates, exceptional customer service, hassle-free process, quick and easy approvals. Don't let outdated equipment hold you back. Partner with Cardinal Leasing today and take your business to the next level. Contact us now. Visit our website at equipment.cardinalleasing.us or call us at 618-803-4086 to get started.
You know, what's funny, I hardly ever talk in sales calls or in client calls about the faith angle, because at the end of the day, you know, if it doesn't make good business sense to work together, then it probably doesn't make sense, right? And so, you know, I always lead with the business, but it's also, you know, it's neat to just be able to talk a little bit about sort of the purpose behind everything as well. So.
Well, I think reading Simon Sinek's "Find Your Why" was a life changer for me. You know, I love reading the Word. I'm reading a book right now, so I'm getting through the Gospels right now. I mean, I've read the Bible cover to cover, you know, but before, you know, a couple of times, but I'm going back in and I'm taking a different approach to it in 2026 the way I'm reading it. But I'm taking breaks in between. I'm reading a couple of books. I'm reading one over the book of Isaiah right now, so I'm actually in the New Testament, but I'm going back and reading a book that really describes, you know, the details of the Old Testament specific to the book of Isaiah. I just find that time, you know, especially before I go to bed every night, reading a little bit, you know, getting my mind full of like good things. It allows me to have better sleep and things like that. What I feel like finding your why is so important. So, you know, you found that, you landed it, you know, here with Shed Pro. You've been with them for 8 years. You guys have been making moves in the industry for some time now. You know, we try to be a friendly face to everybody here at the Shed Geek podcast. You guys have just been, you know, reciprocal of that, you know, this whole time. Where's it going, Stephen? Like, where's the future of the industry going? Where's the future of 3D and how that meets, and especially this digital presence now that's seemingly ever expanding? It feels like, you know, I say it's ever expanding. It's almost like a divide, isn't it? It's either it's a, you know, you hear the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. I feel like the digital platform gets bigger for those using it, and it just gets farther away from those who are agnostic to it. So give us your overarching thoughts on what you see.
I think that's a great way of putting it, is that, you know, the industry is getting more sophisticated. People are getting, you know, smarter and more capable as far as their online presence, as well as going deeper in terms of incorporating digital tools in their workflows, in their marketing and everything else. And so I know that it can feel overwhelming for people, just that, you know, and maybe some people even feel like it's too late for an old dog to learn new tricks. But, you know, I think that's really where Shed Pro, you know, shines, is it doesn't have to be that complicated. Um, we believe that, I mean, you know, you could do everything possible out there. You could market on every single channel. You know, you could try to dominate on every single, you know, platform. But at the end of the day, I think where most people are at, it's actually there's probably 20% of what's possible You just need to do that, the 20%, and that's really going to drive 80% of the results. And that's an axiom that's true in most things, and it's actually true in online marketing as well. And so what we've found is that for most shed businesses that that are maybe they're not quite the multi-state national brand type shed businesses, but they're not just like they're not like just your small or maybe side business type of shed business either. Most people in that range are going to actually get all the traction that they need by doing three things really well. Number one, make sure that you can be found online for people that have the highest intention to buy. Number two, make sure that your website actually does its job. The website's job is to take visitors and convert them into leads. Number three, if you add a 3D configurator to that mix, that will just it typically doubles the number of leads that you're getting off your website, and the leads that you get off your 3D shed configurator are typically going to close much faster than a non 3D configurator lead, as well as prices that you get off of those sales are going to be 30% higher. So we believe that if you can do those three things really, really well, that you're going to be fine. You're going to get more leads, get more consistent leads, and make bigger sales. And sure, there's some folks that need more than that. But for the majority of the people that I talk to, those three things, if you can do those things well, that's going to get you pretty far.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely. Coming from that sort of, marketing side of things, just a baseline of how do you get your offer in front of people, right? And then how do you take those people who are seeing an offer and actually manage to get enough information about them to then start a sales process. That's just the core of what marketing is, and it continues to evolve. I think that while there's a big awareness of 3D Builder within the industry, I don't know that there's, really anyone operating out there who doesn't know they're available. I do think that it is still a little bit intimidating. I think it's intimidating for people who have maybe never had a 3D builder like on board and on their website and interacting in a way that potentially is even kind of their primary way that they build orders or whatever that might be. But I also think it's intimidating for people who already have a 3D builder on board, but maybe are not, for whatever reason, it's not performing, whether that just be to the sort of baseline metrics of volume and close rate that you just kind of mentioned, or even if it's a little more kind of core, technology type of things where it's just not actually, loading quickly, which, as we know, is such a thing these days. Just the amount of patience that people have to look at a screen while that little bubble loads there is going down. Maybe speak just a little bit, Stephen, to the performance of Shed Pro specifically, and how you kind of alleviate any of that tension that might come from whether it be people who are kind of first timers or even people who have maybe had an experience that that they're not quite sure about 3D builders altogether.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. So it's really important that when you decide to jump on a solution, that whoever is delivering that solution to you is able to deliver it quickly. I think the worst thing is when you decide to buy something because you need it now, and then it takes months and months to deliver. And so, meanwhile, your problem hasn't gone away, and you're kind of languishing here without a tool, that you thought that was gonna solve the problems for you. And so at Shed Pro, we do consistently deliver on the solutions that people sign up for. Within 2 to 4 weeks for websites and Google Ads, or within 3 to 6 weeks for 3D configurators. So we know that that's really important that we get the tools in the hands of the business owners when they decide that they're ready, right? So that's really important. It doesn't have to be that intimidating. I think for us, it's really important that we do all the heavy lifting for our customers. At the end of the day, we are experts in the technology, right? We're not a shed builder. Uh, Maybe I'll tell a story about our building project fail at one of the shed expos. What we do and what we specialize in is building software for this industry. And so our job is really to be the technology partner for our clients so that they can go back to doing what they do best, right? Which is knowing their product, knowing their customer, building their products. And so even during onboarding, I've heard a lot of people tell us that they were surprised that Shed Pro, did all the heavy lifting for them, that they didn't feel like they gave Shed Pro enough information, and yet Shed Pro was able to set up a 3D configurator that accurately represented their styles, their options, their pricing, with visualizations that actually look like their buildings, right? So yeah, I mean, we understand that it can be intimidating. And so, one thing I really like about my job is that my job, obviously my role, I'm measured against my sales, but I try to always remember that at the end of the day, my job is to help people understand, feel confident, and make an informed decision one way or the other. And so, during the sales process, during interactions, I always try to educate, I try to inform. And there are times where I will say, hey, Shed Pro is actually not the right fit, right? Because at the end of the day, I want to make sure that we're being, that we're being honest and that we're bringing real value. So yeah, the intimidation factor, it might be there, but at the same time, when you're working with people that you trust, are experts, I think sometimes that intimidation factor can kind of get in the way of otherwise making, some important decisions and progress on the business.
Absolutely.
Very good. Um, what do you feel like is different going into for you? I don't, if you haven't been over to Shed Pro for the whole time that they've been, or have you been?
Yeah.
So like, either way, what do you feel like is your experience, like the contrast between year one and year going into year nine for you? Like, what is it that people are embracing now that they did not embrace?
You mean in the industry or you mean in Shed Pro?
Yeah, well, more in the industry. I mean, you can share, the insights to Shed Pro and what you guys are doing and the internal dialogue over there, but I'll give you a scapegoat. I'm curious more what you feel like the customer or potential customer or just the pulse of the industry as a whole. I mean, the one thing that's gotten me is like the amount of acquisitions that's happening. I heard of just two more this week, and I feel like that's going to continue to be a drumbeat in the industry here for quite some time. I don't know if those things affect you. We can address those, but I'm just kind of curious that like, so I have this running joke. This is, I'll give you the premise to my question, and then maybe that'll help you understand a little bit more. Several listeners have heard me say this before. Cord hears me say it all the time. Me and Cord like to joke around about politics and what it means to be liberal, what it means to be conservative, where we cross the lines, where we hold tight on certain things. And the one thing I always laugh about, you've heard the Republican Party is the party of no, right? And the Republicans generally, goes along with like the conservative mantra. And I always like to say, well, that doesn't just, happen in the politics, that happens in the business world too. And I said, I'll prove it to you. In the shed industry, somebody can say, hey, I've got a new product, a new service, a new idea. And everyone will say, it'll never work. And and I always say, well, you haven't even heard the idea yet. And like, that's just the conservative nature, is to be like, nope, nope, won't buy it. Nope, don't want it. Nope, it'll never work. Nope, I'll never use it. And then 5 years later, they're using it. And it's just like, there's never this comeback that's like, hey, I was wrong. you know, I, I was short sighted on that. Have you guys, so now you understand the premise of my question, and it's a little bit of a poke from me, the shed geek at the industry, so please forgive me. But it's kind of one of those things where we're just like, no, don't want to embrace that. No, don't want to do that. No, I'll never use that. And then they end up using it. Have you experienced that as well?
Shed builders, if you're looking to boost efficiency and improve your truss and component production, you need to know about IFAB LLC. We've been building shop-tested, builder-approved equipment since 2011, and we specialize in reliable, durable solutions for real-world shed manufacturing. From truss presses and our adjustable jig to the precision door table, forklift building movers, and three-point building movers, IFAB equipment is designed to help small shops and large production operations run smoother. And if you haven't seen our latest truss saw system, you're missing out on some major upgrades, like an integrated stop system, pneumatically automated slider saw, integrated scrap conveyor, and a standalone elevating conveyor. These innovative options are helping shops cut faster, cleaner, and more consistently than ever. Whether you're expanding production or tightening up your workflow, we're here to help. Visit IFAB LLC to explore our machines or give us a call. Let's talk about improving your shop. IFAB LLC, simple, innovative solutions for the shed industry.
I certainly did like more than I do now. So I definitely think that there's been a shift. At the beginning, of course, there were just so many people that were so skeptical that this industry needed something like a 3D shed configurator. There's still people, I would say, that feel like not having transparent pricing, or is necessary for them to be able to make sales. Or, sometimes I talk to people that say, well, why do I need a shed configurator? I don't want people to be able to purchase their shed online. We really feel like the sales experience is part of the value that the customers buy into when they work with us. And so, yeah, I mean, I do still hear those kinds of objections, but I also have sensed a shift in the industry where, 5 years ago, shed configurators were still, pre-COVID, still somewhat novel, whereas right now it's almost a standard way of doing business. It's basically become a proven asset, right? It's proven to generate more leads. It's proven to help sales close faster. It's proven to generate higher prices. I talked to one client at the last Shed Expo, and they had signed up at the previous year's expo, so they had been with us for about 12 months, and they said that year over year their revenue had grown by 300% after signing up with Shed Pro. Now we can't take all the credit for that, obviously, but what they did tell us was they had struggled for years to try to generate any kind of traction with online sales, online marketing. And then once they signed up with Shed Pro, basically leads just started coming in consistently, and they were actually able to verify these stats that I quote, which is that when the sale came in from the 3D configurator, the average sale price was 30% higher than when it was not. Right. And so I think at this point, there's so many businesses that are using this software, that are incorporating it into their sales process. And even whether the lead came in online or not, it's like they're finding that there's so much value in being able to instantaneously render, visualize, and price out, a custom order. So I do think some of that skepticism has been replaced by sort of an acknowledgement that number one, it works, and number two, most people would like to have it, I think, at this point. Although, of course, you still do find people that, maybe it's a little bit new to them, and that's okay, right? I guess the value of signing up later is that almost all of the initial pain points and bugs and kinks and stuff have been worked out. And so now if you're signing up It's going to be a smooth onboarding experience, and the time to impact is going to be very, very short because it's such a mature product at this point.
Yeah. Stephen, maybe if you don't mind, I don't know, we're obviously a few minutes in here, but for our YouTube listeners, would you mind to kind of show us, a little walkthrough, little demo? I know one of the things that Shannon and I and the podcast and Shed Geek in general has really been focused on lately has been on the product side. So I'm like a little curious to know, when it comes to, whether that be, a solar blaster fan, right? That goes on the roof and is an active, a piece like that. If those are the types of, I know anything's possible with custom. I'm just kind of curious to see a little walkthrough itself, but then maybe also explore. Solar blaster is a good example because it's visible, from the outside. But as we're kind of thinking through exactly to your point, how do you wind up driving up the price? Because the customer needs that solution, right? They need whether it's just strictly storage, whether it's the upsell of interior built-in cabinets or overhead storage or whatever that might be. Like when you give people the option and they are the ones, if it's a digital lead, who are able to control, gosh, I really would like a workbench in there. I mean, that's how you wind up, not just the sizing. So a big portion of that 30%, I'm sure, is people go from a 8x12 to a 10x16 or whatever, right? But then the other part of that is actually getting those upsells and people feeling comfortable with those options right in the builder. So I guess kind of a two-phase question. Number one, give us a little, if you have time and you can share, give us a little walkthrough. And then number two, on that products and kind of innovation side of things, like how do you see Shed Pro continuing to try to meet what are ultimately customer demands, but obviously for the builders themselves to then integrate those things in for their customers?
Yeah, I'd be happy to share, and feel free to interrupt me if there's like a specific thing that you want me to show. Is it showing up on the Zoom here?
It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, so here's an example of a model that we can generate here. I mean, one thing that I always get comments on is the visual 3D quality of like the Shed Pro 3D configurator. You could see clear inside of the building here, and kind of the rendering fidelity is really, really high in our 3D configurator, which we're really proud about. And so just the ability to, obviously, make a change and see that change in real time is really important. But also in terms of, adding value to the price of the sale, essentially when people don't see something, or rather when they see something, they actually realize, oh, hey, I didn't even know I could do that, and now maybe I want it, right? And so I think that a lot of times that's how the add-ons and options. And so just for an example, like in this interior, maybe the customer didn't realize that with the size of this building, they're going to need a loft in the front and in the back. But once
Yep.
they get in here and they can visualize, the approximate kind of uh, size of this, maybe they realize actually, hey, I'm going to want some benches. Maybe I'm going to want some shelving or something like that. The other thing too is like, our configurator, we do a lot of detail on the interior. So like electrical, for example, you could see here in the back in this particular example, I've got a breaker box. We've got some plywood laid down here, but I can also add things like, let's see, where's my insulation at? Insulation. So, we could do things like insulation or foil, or just things that the customer may or may not realize is available, or may or may not realize that they needed. Once you can show it to them visually, it suddenly it makes it more likely that they're actually going to purchase some add-ons that they may not have otherwise. Does that
Yeah.
does that answer your first question there?
Yeah, that is awesome, Stephen. to be honest, I don't know that I had seen that full kind of zoom in where you get the cutaway. And obviously the one that you pulled up here, kind of has all of those, product and interior upgrades, available with whichever company this is, or maybe is this just your sort of, this is a,
This is just a demo, right? So this is just kind of a beta or demo model to kind of show off what our configurator actually can do. Because when you find a Shed Pro configurator like live in somebody's website, what a lot of people don't realize is that, we've customized that particular configurator to exactly what that business actually does. And so there's quite a few features that our configurator can do that, nobody uses 100% of the features that we have available. And so, yeah, there's just a ton of stuff that the configurator is very capable at this point. I'll show you another one. This is like a tiny home beta that we did. Again, this isn't anybody's real tiny home, but just kind of a demonstration of the type of technology. So what we did here is just we kind of set up a tall A-frame building. And then on the interior, we've actually kind of set this up so that, so that again, this is nobody's real tiny home layout, but the idea would be that anybody that is finishing out their interiors, you'd actually be able to come in here and your customers can, for example, let's see. Your customers can come in here, or they could sit down with a salesperson, and for example, they can choose their countertop finishes, or maybe they can change up their cabinet colors. They could pick out we can even swap, like, appliances and things like that. These objects here can move around. So there's quite a bit that our 3D configurator can do, which a lot of people haven't realized, right? And so again a beta of like what a tiny home configurator could be, but this is also where you would find like the average price of one building that's finished out like this is going to be multiple X's on top of your typical storage shed. So this has generated quite a bit of interest in some folks that I've talked to.
Yeah, God, that is incredible. I've actually gone through, the process of ordering kitchen cabinets. We've done some renovations and interior type of 3D designs, whether it be Lowe's or Home Depot or Menards or what have you. And to have that level of detail, within the interior space, whether it be a tiny home, or the shed demo that you just have. I mean, there's absolutely no telling what kind of money, Lowe's and Home Depot have into those custom built solutions. So I mean, maybe after just being honestly a little blown away, I like some of these features that I'm seeing that I hadn't even demoed with you offline yet. So maybe this is a good point to say, what the sort of promotional, like, what do you have going on? Because in my mind, seeing just that little walkthrough you did, gosh, that product is so valuable. My mind starts saying, well, that must be out of my price range if I'm your sort of small scale or medium scale builder, manufacturer, dealer lots, whatever it might be. Can you give us a little bit of details for how you can get a product like that on board that seems to have just be packed with so much value to the customer and the builder and everybody?
Yeah, well, we understand that switching software, or signing up for software, it can be a bit of a hassle. It could feel like a heavy lift, and obviously the financial part of it. And so we are running a promo right now for anybody that's switching to Shed Pro from from another software platform. We are offering a 50% discount on our setup fees. So we want to make it easy for people to jump in and get in on what we have to offer. And then also typically on the monthly pricing, most times we are actually cheaper than our top competitors on the monthly. And so yeah, it's a good time. It's a good time to come talk to us. and just maybe, maybe even just try to see if it does make sense to switch at some point. And again, we're trying to make that as easy as possible, both
I always
operationally as well as financially.
I always like
Go
to say
ahead, Chip.
nothing happens without a demo. Nothing happens without a discovery call. Like that's probably one of the hardest things. It's like, I love going to the expo just as much as anybody. I'll be there next year. I've been there for several years. I enjoy it. A bunch of people being able to come together. But and it's nice to kind of have like a lot of competing products in one place so you can go from one to the other. But like, I see people walk by booths all the time. And I'm like, hey, these people paid to come see you. Trust me, they want to talk to you. Go over and it's the same way here, do the demo. Do the demo because you don't know until you go and explore your options. And I think education is powerful because the more you know, the more informed decision you can make. You really got to get on a call with these guys to be able to understand the things you don't know, the things you don't understand. That's the expertise that you bring, Stephen.
Oh no!
Sam, what's going on? Are you okay?
Yes, I'm fine, Lisa. I was just trying to get a screwdriver and all this other stuff fell down. I'm ready to go buy a shed so we can have some space in this garage again.
I agree. I keep looking at the shed Mr. Jenkins bought. Let's ask him where I got his.
Howdy, neighbor. We're wondering, how do you like your shed?
I love it. It's exactly what I needed, and I couldn't have asked for a better service.
And where did you get it?
I can't remember, but let me check. Something this nice will probably have the builder's name on it somewhere. No, I'm sorry. I can't find a name anywhere.
Well, we finally got a shed.
Yes, I just hope we're happy. The thing is a lot more shoddy than I expected, and I'm sure I told them I wanted a window, but they didn't have it in the paperwork, so I couldn't argue. Boy, is this a lousy shed. We haven't even had it 2 years, have we?
Barely. It was just a bad deal all the way around. Mr. Jenkins told me the other day that he likes his shed so much he wants to get a second one, but he still can't remember where he got it.
Your product is your best advertising. At Identigrow, we provide nameplates that ensure your quality products are never forgotten. Identify your products, grow your business. For more information, visit identigrow.com.
Or give them a call at 540-283-9193.
Yeah, well, I mean, I get it too because I hate being sold to. I mean, it just like my spidey sense goes on or whatever. Like when I feel like somebody's trying to sell something to me, I literally had somebody, ring my doorbell at home and was offering me to switch to a different internet service provider, and there was no reason why I shouldn't have said no right then and there. But I just don't like being sold to, so I said no. It would have been cheaper. And I don't, so I get it. But at the same time, I think that's where, I always try to just try to be helpful, educate and inform. And, I'm sure all of us in this industry, we understand like that nobody likes a hard sell. So, anyone that decides to come talk to us, I'd be happy to answer any questions and just get you more informed and identify, where some of your biggest bottlenecks are, and whether you choose to go with Shed Pro, to resolve those bottlenecks or not, you will have gained value from that call. Yeah, I will say that a significant percentage of our new business last year actually came from people that were switching over from somebody from some other platform to Shed Pro, and our onboarding success rate was 100%. So on the 3D configurator, so we're excited. It seems like people kind of are hearing that Shed Pro is doing a good job, that we're trying to stay ahead of the curve when it comes to features, And actually, if you don't mind me sharing my screen again, we've actually made some progress as far as some specialty type of buildings that you can't really get anywhere else. Would you mind if I showed you some of those?
Yeah, go for it. Absolutely. While you're doing that, I was going to say the while you're pulling that up gives us a chance to chat here. And the psychology of sales and what you're talking about is such an interesting topic. And when you start thinking about inbound leads versus outbound, and I'll give you just a quick synopsis of something that like, Lord help me if it sounds like a statement of arrogance because I don't mean it that way. But one of the coolest things that I found whenever I was working rent to own on road to road calls, knocking on doors, running into gatekeepers because it was like, hey, I don't want the solicitation today. I don't want if I want to buy it, I'll contact you. That kind of mentality, and I totally understand that because me and you both probably wouldn't welcome a knock at our door right now of somebody trying to sell us internet or a roof or a vacuum cleaner or whatever it is. But it's maybe just the intolerance of us and people in wanting to be in control in that psychological effect of the tug, the back and forth of like sales and understanding the psychology of it. What I found interesting was there was people that gate kept me that I could not get into. We started the podcast, we tried to create value, tried to become a subject matter expert, and I was really pleased whenever I began to get calls from the same people who I could no longer could not talk to at one point from an inbound lead. I was getting solicitation from. So I think what did I learn from that was the exercise I took away from that is help people, and a lot of sins can be forgiven, right? Even help people. If you help people, people want help. If you can help them at an affordable price, something that actually offers value and they feel good about it financially, they not only want to use it, they want to tell everybody else about it. I think, where it says love covers a multitude of sins in the word, I think help covers a multitude of failures in the business world. So, like, as long as you can come back with every step and say, hey, wait a minute, I have a solution here of something that helps you, people will get over the psychology sometimes of even the hard sell to be like, you know what? I was skeptical at first, but it helped me. And I feel like companies like Shed Pro have done that well. And 3D configurators are exactly what you said, a mature presence in the industry at this point. Not saying if you don't have one, you're going to fail. Let's be clear. We don't have to go to extremes. I'm just saying other people, as we begin to see mergers and acquisitions and people take bigger market pieces of the market share, it is going to be the ones offering a 3D configurator who's going to continue to take that market share, in my humble opinion. Go ahead, Stephen.
Yeah, and some of the objections that I sometimes hear, I mean, this is a percentage of the time, small percentage, but sometimes people say, "Oh, well, our buildings are too unique," or whatever. But ShedPro has historically been more willing to go after and create models for buildings that other configurator companies haven't been able to touch. So here's an example of like this is like a kind of a combo type of building with a porch and kind of some complex angles here on the roof. But our team was actually able to do this model really, really beautifully, in my opinion. And this has become, a really important seller for Twin City Barns in Missouri there. Also, like animal structures, like dog kennels, the logic to be able to adjust the number of runs or the sizing in between runs and things as the building changes sizes to be able to render that accurately. Pavilions, pergolas, we don't have 100% solution here, but we do have some foundational models, I think, that we're going to try to lean into. And so a lot of times people end up coming to us because they get kind of innovation from us that um, and like here's another example of a two-story model with interior staircase visualization, right? So just things that we've been able to accomplish for specific clients that has added value. And again, whenever you can get your products in front of your customers, visualize them, render them instantaneously, it gives your customers a sense of confidence in their whole interaction, and it gives the shed business a credibility that will increase your win rates and increase your average sale value.
Well, I'm blown away. Oh, we don't have a shed lot yet, at least, but I'm a buyer, Stephen. I mean, that is like this little, and I know we're kind of out, maybe on the far corners of the capability, and some of those models are probably not offered universally, but my goodness, just beautifully rendered, the inside, the upsells. I mean, these are all the things that we, I don't want to say harp. We don't try to preach or in any way, make people feel lesser than for this or that or the other. But these are the things that we continue to encourage the industry to embrace, not just the 3D builder itself, but how do you actually put into that tool all of your true value upsells? I'm always confused a little bit. I've said this to Shannon separately, but American Airlines sells an extra $55 million worth of upgraded tickets every year because they moved that choice to the end. Instead of saying, do you want an economy or a business class or a first class seat whenever you go to book, they moved that pricing to the end. All things are relative. Sales are relative. The customer is seeing that price as compared to the other, right? So if you're allowing them to add those options as they build, right, then by the time they get to the end, they're not thinking, well, that is a whatever, 9, 10, 11, $12,000 building. They're thinking, well, the when I started, right, or the other 3D build that I did that was plain was already 6.5, right? Like all things are relative in that customer's mind. And having all those things built in, I mean, it's no wonder that you get a 30%, increase in overall sales price on average, because it just makes so much sense and it's rendered so beautifully. So shout out. I know it's not you personally, Stephen. I know there's a whole team of people who are doing the work, and you're just the face and the account guy. But like, you guys are doing good work.
It's because he's got good hair. That's what it is. They're putting him out front because of the good hair. I know what's up here. If they had a bald guy like me, they'd keep me in the corner. You know what I mean?
No, thank you so much. I mean, it is a testament to our team. I mean, and how hard they work and how enthusiastic they are about helping our customers grow. And actually, that's something that it's something that we talk about all the time, is that we exist to help shed and carport businesses grow, through our digital solutions. So whether that's your online marketing, whether that's a 3D configurator that can quote and generate sales orders and work orders, and we haven't really talked about our Ops Hub either. But we're really trying to provide a platform of digital solutions that helps any shed business grow their sales or grow more efficient in their operations.
I got to tell you, Stephen, that to me, that just means that's all the more reason for us to solicit you to come back for another and future episodes so that you can talk about and discuss those things in detail. For sure. We're up against 50 minutes now. Curious, do you have any shout outs, any just things, final thoughts, things that you would want to share with the industry? Thank yous, whatever's on your heart there.
Yeah, well, I want to thank you guys for what you do for the industry. Honestly, you've done a great job of, developing a community online, of making it safe to kind of share best practices, to encourage each other. So, thank you to you guys for definitely, for everything you guys have been doing in the industry. And, I want to thank our clients. I want to thank you guys for pushing us. I want to thank you guys for, giving us feedback to make us better. We do our best to try to listen and try to get better. So thank you so much for your loyalty and for for the goodwill that you've generated toward our name. So thank you to all of our wonderful clients out there.
Well, ditto. We say the same. Thank you guys for being this year's studio sponsor, our title sponsor on our Wednesday episode. It's been excellent. Appreciate all that you guys do, and just really the whole team over there. Kind of getting to meet the whole team and sitting down with you guys, for lunch or dinner or something at the trade shows, or just places that we find ourselves in common ground. Everybody's been so pleasant. So thank you as well. Um, Cord, what are your final thoughts on wrapping up here today with Stephen Choi from Shed Pro?
I I just think that this is um, such a necessary tool at this point, right? We say it all the time, whether Steven's on or not. 3D builders. I continue to say the industry needs to keep developing those assets, right? And I'm sure Shed Pro is thinking about that too, right? How do we continue to evolve assets that bring people, in that increase the volume of leads and meet people where they are and blah blah blah. But I just think they're doing such a great job, and to be honest with you, blown away by just the functionality that's available. Obviously, I've had a lot of interaction with Shed Pro, but a lot of it has been limited in the past to a kind of more basic 3D build that didn't necessarily have all of the options involved. But as the industry develops, as it diversifies, as you become an all around solution for all things backyard, outdoors, property management, like as the shed industry continues to evolve into that direction, meeting your customers where you are is key. And from what I can tell, I mean, I'm blown away, Stephen. I think that was such a great little short demo of what's possible. And it's exactly what the customers are looking for. So I would just say give these guys a call. You're never going to have a bad time with Steven, even if you don't decide to use Shed Pro as your configurator. He's always going to be a good conversation. And I count myself lucky to have him as a friend in the industry. So thank you, Steven.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. Yeah, first time here on the podcast, but hope I wasn't too boring. Yeah, thank you for
You're
the
done.
kind words and being such great hosts.
You've definitely done great. For those of you that suffer with hair envy like myself, you just gonna have to wear a hat whenever you talk to him. That's just what it boils down to. But Stephen, I know that you know that one of the things that we think about over here is how we incorporate our faith into our message a lot of times, and sometimes that can be very tricky. Some people highly embrace that. Some people really run and scurry from that, or connect with me privately. We always want to try to be leaders in that area and not followers. So because of that, oftentimes, we like to pray here on the podcast. And I didn't ask you this, but as a pastor, I was hoping that you wouldn't take too much offense to this if I asked you to just kind of pray over the industry as we end this episode, and then we can talk just a little bit off air.
Yeah, I would love that. Thank you for asking. All right, let's pray together. Father, I just want to give you thanks for this chance to have this conversation with Shannon and Cord, and for everyone that's listening. God, I pray that the information that we shared today would be helpful, that it would be encouraging, that would give people a sense of hope that things can get better, that that the solve to their problem isn't too much of a reach. Father, we just ask that you would continue to that you would bless everyone's business this year in 2026. God, there's business is always challenging. There's lots of stuff going on in the world and in the economy, but God, we trust that you are our provider. And so I just pray a prayer of blessing over each and every listener, all of our families. God, we thank you. We love you for your provision. And we pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. And
Amen.
if somebody wants to get a hold of you, Stephen, before we get out of here, where's the best place for them to reach out to you?
Yeah, you can go to shedpro.co and book a call using the Let's Talk Calendly link on the website. If you'd like to speak to me directly, please call me 657-201-5803. You can also email me, Steven, Steven, dot CHOI at shedpro.co. Stephen.choi at shedpro.co.
Excellent. Appreciate that very much. To the listening audience, the only thing I can ask you to do is humbly ask you, tell them Shed Geek sent you over. You heard about it on Shed Geek. It gives us a little bit of credit back to these guys who spend money with us, constantly to stay in front of you guys with hopefully engaging and entertaining educational content, things that are helpful for the industry. We appreciate you guys so much for tuning in, for listening in. Go check out our newsletter. If nothing else, go click on their link there. We'll make sure to get you in touch. We'll turn over every rock to get you in front of somebody. We want to see your business thrive and survive in 2026 and really up against all the odds that we face here that the world throws at us. But, appreciate you guys and really appreciate you guys' partnership and just being on the show today, Stephen. Look forward to another conversation with you. I've always said you're a great conversationalist and an excellent salesperson.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks again, ShedPro, for being the Shed Geeks studio sponsor. If you need any more information about ShedPro or about Shed Geek, just reach out. You can reach us by email at info@shedgeek.com or just go to our website, www.shedgeek.com, and submit a form with your information, and we'll be in contact right away. Thank you again for listening, as always, to today's episode of the Shed Geek Podcast. Thank you and have a blessed day.